All right, let's now interrupt our broadcast and go straight across to the press conference that is being given by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and he has with him the Iranian President Hassan Rouhani, who is on a 3-day state visit to India.
Third, exchange of the instrument of ratification of the extradition treaty to be also again exchanged by Dr. Mohammad Javad Zarif, the Iranian Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the Indian Minister of External Affairs, Srimati Sushma Swaraj.
All right, now what we are looking at are the various memorandums of understanding that are being signed, between the two nations. There are several avenues of cooperation that have been discussed, that have been debated upon, and that is what we just saw. The two external affairs ministers of the two nations, Sushma Swaraj and also her counterpart from Iran, exchanging the memorandums of understanding that have been signed as a part of this official state visit by Hassan Rouhani. Now, India and Iran, of course, share a very, very formal and a good relationship in terms of cooperation that the two nations enjoyed. There are very few sticking points between India and Iran, and what we are looking at is greater cooperation between the two nations. Iran, of course, happens to be the second biggest supplier of crude oil to India, and apart from this, Iran is also seeking investment from India. Iran and India have also got this important Chabahar port, and all differences are expected to be ironed out as a part of this visit, and Chabahar port is expected to be fully functional by the end of this year.
Expert group on trade remedy measures to promote cooperation in areas of mutual interest to be exchanged by His Excellency Dr. Mohammad Khazai, Deputy Minister of Economy and Financial Affairs of Iran, and Srimati Rita Teotia, Secretary, Department of Commerce. Seventh, MOU on cooperation in the field of agriculture and allied sectors to be exchanged by the Iranian Deputy Minister of Economy and Financial Affairs, His Excellency Dr. Mohammad Ghazi, and on the Indian side by Secretary Agriculture, Shri Shobna Patnaik. Eighth, MOU on cooperation in the field of health and medicine to be exchanged by the Iranian Ambassador, His Excellency Mr. Ghulam Reza Ansari, and by the Foreign Secretary of India, Shri Vijay Gokhale. Ninth, MOU on postal cooperation to be exchanged by the Iranian Ambassador, His Excellency Mr. Ghulam Reza Ansari, and Shri Anant Narayan Nanda, Secretary Post. Excellencies, may I also report to this gathering that the following 4 MOUs were signed during the sideline of this visit. This included MOU between EEPC India and the Trade Promotion Organization of Iran, 2 MOU between FICCI and Iran Chamber of Commerce, Industries, Mines and Agriculture, 3 MOU between ASSOCHAM and the Iran Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mine and Agriculture, and 4th MOU between PSD Chamber of Commerce and Industry of India and the Iran Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture. Excellencies, may I now request His Excellency the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran and our Prime Minister to come forward and jointly release the stamp to mark economic and trade relations between India and Iran.
All right, now these are the several memorandums of understanding that have been signed between India and Iran. Cooperation is, of course, now going to be increased on several fronts in terms of coastal cooperation, besides the fact that Iran continues to be the second biggest provider of the nation from which we import crude oil from. We also will be seeing greater amount of cooperation in terms of trade and business and investments that the two countries will make with each other.
And a warm welcome to you all to this press event. To begin the proceedings, may I request the Prime Minister of India to deliver his statement to the press.
हमारे विशिष्ट मेहमान और दोस्त तथा ईरानी इस्लामिक गणतंत्र के राष्ट्रपति हिज एक्सेलेंसी डॉक्टर हसन रूहानी, भारत और ईरान के शिष्टमंडल के सम्मानीय सदस्यगण, फ्रेंड्स फ्रॉम द मीडिया, नमस्कार। योर एक्सेलेंसी, भारत में आपका हार्दिक स्वागत करते हुए मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है। 10 वर्ष के अंतराल के बाद ईरान के राष्ट्रपति की भारत यात्रा हो रही है। आपकी मेजबानी करना हमारे लिए बड़ी खुशी की बात है। मैंने वर्ष 2016 में तेहरान की यात्रा की थी और अब 2 वर्ष के भीतर आपकी यात्रा हमारे देशों के पुराने और दोस्ताना रिश्तों को और भी मजबूत बनाने का एक सुनहरा मौका देती है। हमारे आपसी संबंध सिर्फ राजनैतिक और राजनयिक संबंध ही नहीं है, वे सभ्यता और संस्कृति के हजारों साल पुराने रिश्ते हैं। इनमें आपसी आदर और विश्वास की भावनाएं हैं। पड़ोसी और दोस्त होने के नाते भारत और ईरान का रिश्ता सैकड़ों साल से एक दूसरे के वजूद को और भी निखारता रहा है। मौलाना रूमी को जितना ईरान में मान मिला है, उतना ही भारत में भी मिला है। आपसी सहयोग से दोनों देशों की समृद्धि की आकांक्षा है और अपने क्षेत्र और विश्व में शांति और स्थिरता की आशा है। एक्सेलेंसी, आपकी लीडरशिप और आपके विजन की स्पष्टता ने भारत ईरान संबंधों को और भी मजबूत करने में बहुत बड़ा योगदान दिया है। 2016 में मेरी ईरान यात्रा में हमने द्विपक्षीय सहयोग का एजेंडा तथा रोडमैप तय किया था। आपकी भारत यात्रा से हमारी साझेदारी बढ़कर सहयोग के नए और अधिक ऊंचे मुकाम पर पहुंची है। आज के परिणाम और जिन समझौतों पर हमने हस्ताक्षर किए, वे पिछले कुछ ही समय में हुई प्रगति का संकेत देते हैं। ये दोनों तरफ की यह इच्छा दर्शाते हैं कि हम अपने द्विपक्षीय आर्थिक सहयोग को बढ़ाना चाहते हैं, कि हम कनेक्टिविटी को और बढ़ाना चाहते हैं, कि हम ऊर्जा के क्षेत्र में साझेदारी बढ़ाना चाहते हैं और सदियों पुराने हमारे सांस्कृतिक संबंधों को और भी मजबूत करना चाहते हैं। हम क्षेत्रीय कनेक्टिविटी को बढ़ाने पर तेजी से आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। एक्सेलेंसी, चारों ओर जमीन से बंद अफगानिस्तान के लिए और मध्य एशिया क्षेत्र के गोल्डन गेटवे के तौर पर चाबहार पोर्ट को विकसित करने में आपने जो नेतृत्व प्रदान किया है, उसके लिए मैं आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। हम चाबहार जहीदान रेल लाइन के विकास को समर्थन देंगे ताकि चाबहार गेटवे की पूरी क्षमता का लाभ उठाया जा सके। हमने आज और भी अनेक मुद्दों पर चर्चा की, अनेक निर्णय भी लिए। कर हो या निवेश, प्रभावी बैंकिंग चैनल हो या ट्रेड बॉडीज के बीच सहयोग, हमने भविष्य के लिए अनेक महत्वपूर्ण कदम आज उठाए हैं। लोगों के बीच पारस्परिक आदान प्रदान बढ़ाने पर हमने विशेष ध्यान दिया है। बहुत लंबे समय से भारतीय और ईरानी एक दूसरे से सीखते रहे हैं, एक दूसरे के यहां पढ़ते रहे हैं। मुझे खुशी है कि छात्रों और विद्वानों के माध्यम से यह सिलसिला आज भी चल रहा है। संसदीय आदान प्रदान बढ़ाने, पारस्परिक आधार पर ई वीजा सुविधा देने, सांस्कृतिक उत्सवों के आयोजन, इंडियन स्टडीज में चेयर की ईरान में स्थापना और फारसी भाषा में सहयोग से इस दिशा में मदद मिलेगी। हमने मछुआरों और सी फेरर्स से संबंधित मानवीय मुद्दों के समाधान के लिए भी बात की है। हमने इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, स्वास्थ्य, पारंपरिक औषधि, कृषि, श्रमिक, उद्यमिता और संचार के नए क्षेत्रों में हमारे सहयोग के क्षेत्र का विस्तार किया है। हम इस बात पर सहमत हैं कि भारत और ईरान के बीच भागीदारी इस क्षेत्र में शांति और समृद्धि और स्थायित्व के हित में है। हम दोनों देश अपने पड़ोसी मित्र अफगानिस्तान को शांतिपूर्ण, सुरक्षित, स्थायी, समृद्ध और प्लूरलिस्टिक देश के रूप में देखना चाहते हैं। हम अपने क्षेत्र और विश्व को आतंकवाद से मुक्त देखना चाहते हैं। भारत और ईरान दोनों देशों के लोग शांति और सहिष्णुता के सूफी संदेश की साझा विचारधारा से जुड़े हुए हैं। हमारे साझा हितों को देखते हुए हम ऐसी ताकतों के विस्तार को रोकने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध हैं जो आतंकवाद, उग्रवाद, अवैध नशीले पदार्थों की तस्करी, साइबर क्राइम और विभिन्न स्वरूपों में अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संगठित अपराधों को बढ़ावा देती हैं। एक्सेलेंसी, आपकी यह यात्रा हमारे दोनों देशों के लिए और इस क्षेत्र के लोगों के लिए स्ट्रेटेजिक कोऑपरेशन के विजन को मार्गदर्शन देगी। हमारा निमंत्रण स्वीकार करने के लिए मैं आपको एक बार फिर हृदयपूर्वक बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं। जय हिंद।
Thank you, sir. May I now request the President of Iran to deliver his remarks to the media.
In the name of God. Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister of India, and the government and people of India, I deem it necessary to extend my thanks for the invitation of Your Excellency, the hospitality, the kindness, and the respect accorded to us by the great nation of India. I again appreciate your government, and also the people of India. The visit of Your Excellency in 2016 to Tehran was a very important step in development of the bilateral relations between two countries. And after your visit, we witnessed development and progress in movement and a speed in the relation between two countries and different fields. And today we witness the fruit of that visit in our country. the relations between two countries, we believe, are far beyond our trade and economic and diplomatic relations. Our relations are far beyond this. Our relations are historical relations. Our relations are cultural relations. Our relations are civilization relations. In many historical works in your beautiful country, we see the inner face of both civilization, the artists of both countries, the engineers of both countries, the mathematicians of both countries, the literary and the people of letters and poets of both countries. We could easily see the fix. Yesterday in a mosque, I delivered a speech to great the people of Hyderabad. Even that mosque, we see the intertwining and combination of two cultures and two architectures and two civilizations. This indicates that two great nations had very great friends over the course of history, and today we must safeguard that great relationship, that close relation over the history. So we demand the development of cultural relations, development of relations in trade affairs, economic affairs, the scientists, technologies, science, and in particular novel technologies. We share views on two crucial issues: transit and energy. We have developed great relation. We have great strategic relation in these regards. The government of India, for the port of Chabahar and the Charbahar railway of Chabahar to Zaydan, and the railway relation between two countries and the related industries. We have had great constructive discussion we had very good understanding in this case. We hope that these MOUs are realized and operationalized. We have seen the development and extensive equipment of Chabahar with the investments of India. We have seen the expedition of the construction of Chabahar to Zaydan with the investment of India. We have witnessed the development of railways in the countries with the cooperation of the two countries. We will see them. We will see development of both cooperation in the field of energy, both petroleum, natural gas, petrochemical product. We both are prepared, and also for joint ventures in different sectors of gas and petroleum. In the field of facilitating economic relation, we have had positive talks for tariffs, preferential trade, for better banking relations with each other, and also visas, and facilitating the travels of tradesmen and business for both countries, which could leave several positive economic and cultural relations in the region. I want to, in our discussions today, in very important bilateral issues, in very important regional issues and international issues, even we didn't have any point of divergence, even on the importance of bilateral relation in issues were not which are our priorities. We had shared views. This indicates that the foundations have been laid for development of our relations. Iran's government has the will to develop the relations and we have witnessed this clearly by your government in our bilateral and on today's discussions and on about transit, energy, agriculture, industry, mines, novel advanced technologies, academic relations, about regional and international issues. We had talks. We talked about the commitment to international deals. We had shared views in this case for bolstering JCPOA. We shared views for multilateral relation in the region between our friends in different regional countries. For trilateral, multilateral, we had consensus. We agreed. Regarding in this point that Afghanistan must be a vivacious and secure country, we were in agreement, and we decided to develop our cooperation in this regard about Syria and Iraq and Yemen. We had shared views. We believe that regional conflicts must be resolved through diplomacy and political solution, and wars must be terminated. Both governments attached considerable importance to combating extremism, terrorism, and we were determined that through culture, through exchange of information, and through sharing our experience, we could combat extremism and terrorism. I am very delighted at making such a visit. Your Excellency, I extend my appreciation for hospitality and hope that the decisions we made during the course of this day about how to proceed these plans and make them bear fruit, and how we personally monitor and oversee the important project. I hope we see ever growing success in our bilateral relations in the very near future. Thank you so much.
Mr. President, thank you all for joining.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Iranian President Hassan Rouhani making a statement after the two sides met. Chabahar port remains one of the big focus points. They are looking at connectivity, oil, Afghanistan, and the regional politics. With me is Ambassador Arun Singh in the studio. Ambassador, the big takeaway from this meeting, according to you?
So I think they first emphasized the historical civilizational connect. The Prime Minister, if you saw, spoke about a quick exchange of visits between the two countries. He had visited in 2016, the Iranian President came in 2018. Now, in terms of visits between the two countries, there have sometimes been big gaps, reflecting the international difficult context in which Iran has been placed. For example, in 2003, President Khatami had come. After that, President Ahmadinejad in 2008. And after 10 years, President Rouhani. And that's because in between, Iran was having a great deal of difficulty in its relations with Europe, with the US, and it had become difficult to advance the bilateral relationship. So aside from emphasizing connectivity, which is an ongoing thing, energy cooperation, I thought it was important that he referred, the Prime Minister referred to India supporting the railway link between Chabahar and Zahedan. Because so far we have been working on the Chabahar port. We have worked to build the Zaran-Delaram road within Afghanistan to give it an alternative access to the sea through Iran. And one of the important gaps has been that there is no good rail link between Chabahar and Zahedan. Once that is constructed, it would enhance further the connectivity.
So I'll try to go through these subjects one by one. You mentioned Afghanistan, and that's important for both Iran and India. But there's an understanding that the approach is different. While India welcomes the American intervention and India is looking at development in Afghanistan, Iran is playing a different game and it wants more influence. So how do they converge, so to speak, there?
So you're absolutely right. I think today India's and Iran's approach on Afghanistan don't converge fully. Till 9/11 happened, India and Iran had been working together on Afghanistan. Because before that, the Taliban, supported by Pakistan, were dominating Afghanistan. And that was creating a great deal of strategic threat also to Iran. So India, Iran, Russia, several other countries were working to sustain the Northern Alliance to prevent a Taliban takeover. Now, with the US presence there now, and US providing the overall security framework within which we have been able to do a huge amount of economic assistance, $2 billion, which has made India a very popular country in Afghanistan. If that security framework were not there, it would have been difficult for us. Iran is very uncomfortable with the US presence in Afghanistan. So they have been reaching out to the Taliban. You may recall that Mullah Mansour, the former Taliban leader, was killed in a drone strike when he was coming back from Iran into Pakistan. So they have maintained links with the Taliban. They're talking to Pakistan, they're talking to China, they're talking to Russia to see how the present structure in Afghanistan can be adjusted and perhaps the American presence from there eased out. So there our strategy doesn't converge. But where it converges is that we would like an alternative access to Afghanistan, bypassing Pakistan, because Pakistan does not allow transit of Indian products. Iran welcomes that. Iran has no difficulty with India doing more in Afghanistan, economic and other assistance. And if we can facilitate movement through Iran into Afghanistan, that meets their requirement. There have been some reports suggesting that as we are working on Chabahar, more and more trade which was going through Karachi is now being diverted to Chabahar. So if Chabahar becomes a growing alternative to Karachi or to Gwadar in the future, it meets Iran's interest, it meets India's interest.
Right.
And to that extent, there's certainly a convergence.
The other factor is America, and relations deteriorated between India and Iran because when India sided, or when the US could lean on India, we basically needed the nuclear deal, and why, you know, what happened in the early 2000s. But now it's a different scenario. The fact that we have made an exception for Iran after Nepal and Bhutan to transact in rupees is a very strong statement that India is sending out, that when it comes to our interests, we are going to look at what suits us best.
So I would sort of put it in a slightly different context. It was not that India accommodated the US as such, but not just India. India, China, Japan, South Korea, all these countries over 2012-2013 reduced their purchases of Iranian oil. And they had to do it because US sanctions law said that if countries did not reduce these purchases, they would come under sanctions from the United States. And because all these countries have deep economic links with the US, for their own economic reasons, they and their entities could not afford to come under US sanctions. So for their own interests, they reduced the purchases. Another problem we faced at that time, whatever we were buying, we were not even able to pay Iran because payment in dollars or in euros had become very difficult because US and European banks were not willing to facilitate transactions to Iran. And so a lot of rupee reserves accumulated here, which we were able to pay back only after the nuclear agreement. So I think what has been done by allowing investments in rupees is to try and segregate any investment that an Indian entity may want to do in Iran from a transaction routed through the US so that the US doesn't block it. So it is only a facilitating sort of agreement. But let's say hypothetically, if the US were to once again impose the kind of sanctions it did earlier, which is not on the cards right now, requiring entities that are dealing with the US to reduce their dealings with Iran, I think many of them in their own interest would take certain economic rationale dictated decisions.
And before I wrap this discussion, I also want to dwell on the countries that Mr. Rouhani mentioned, Yemen and Syria. He spoke about regional conflicts and diplomacy and talks and so on. India hasn't really taken a position on what's happening in West Asia, and yet India is engaging so closely with all the players who are sitting on different sides of this equation. How long can India keep on doing that?
I think we can keep on doing that because our effort has been to consolidate the bilateral relations with all the players, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Israel, Iran, without getting involved in the conflicts or the issues. Because I don't think we are in a position to really influence those. At the same time, our interests get affected. When there's conflict in Yemen, we had to evacuate people. Similarly, in Syria, there are issues related to Indians who are present there. So we watch our interest. But so long as we don't have the capacity to really influence, it's better to focus on strengthening bilateral relations with the countries concerned. So I think that has been the approach, and how we have handled Yemen and Syria is a reflection of that.
Right. And just to wrap up, this is what the Foreign Ministry, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Ravish Kumar said about the exchange between the two leaders, and I'm quoting, Prime Minister Modi and President Rouhani had substantive and productive discussion on cooperation in trade and investment, energy, connectivity, defense, security and regional issues. And the Foreign Minister saying that the theme of this meeting was civilizational connect and contemporary context. So that's what they're looking at. He's the first Iranian president to be visiting in 10 years. Hassan Rouhani is in India, and this is the last day of his 3-day-long visit.